Okay, so you've already seen the overview for how to use a T-chart or an input-output table to help you graph the points and connect them with a straight edge for a line. Let's take a look at one more example that you can watch me do. Then we're going to pause the video and let you try one on your own and then come back and check. Okay, so that's what we're going to be doing. Let's take a look at number 3. We have our equation y equals x plus 3. So here's where my input is going to go when I plug it in. So let me go ahead and set this up. I'm going to have x plus 3, x plus 3, x plus 3, x plus 3, and x plus 3. And if they don't give you x values, that's okay. Use these. They're close to the origin, and most of the time they'll work just fine. So leave a space for your x and then the rest of the equation. Now you can plug it in. So we're going to plug in -2, plug in -1, plug in 0, plug in 1, plug in 2. And we're going to work this out using algebra to find out what our output value is, or what our y value is. -2 plus 3 is just 1. -1 plus 3 is 2. 0 plus 3 is 3. Hey, I see a pattern here. Do you? I bet the next one's going to be 4. 1 plus 3 is 4. Ta-da! 2 plus 3 is 5. So then my ordered pair is going to be the x and the y connected together. So here I've got -2, 1. -1, 2. 0, 3. 1, 4. 2, 5. There's my ordered pairs. Now, before I can graph it, I have to put my axes on the coordinate grid. So let's see. My biggest y value is 5. That's not super huge, so I think I can put my axis right in the middle and be just fine. So I'm going to put my axis down right here. That was a pretty squirrely looking line, so I'm going to start using my straight edge. I don't want this graph to look like a kindergartner did it. That would be silly. Label it axis x and axis y, just to make sure that we all know where we're at here on this graph. And then we're just going to plot our points. So I've got -2, +1. There's a point. -1, +2. 0, 3. 1, 4. 2, 5. Awesome. I have my 5 points now. I can connect them. So let's see. I'm going to put my pencil down, my pen down right here. And there we go. Notice I'm using up the whole graph, because this line goes on forever and ever and ever. So there's my line. Now, just to make sure I did this right, let's do our slope evaluation. Pick any 2 points. It doesn't matter. As long as you start on the left and go over to the right. I picked 2 points that were a little bit separated from each other. That's fine. So let's see. I need to know the rise. So if I start here, to get to this point, I have to go up 1, 2. So my rise is 2. My run, 1, 2, is also 2, which means my slope is 2 over 2, which is just 1. That's a positive, so I would expect this to be an uphill line. And if I go from left to right, I see, sure enough, it's an uphill line, so that means I graphed it correctly. Why don't you pause the video, tackle number 4, come on back when you think you've got it. There's 2 negatives together. Did you catch that? Make sure that anytime you have 2 negatives together, they will cancel each other out and become a positive. So be careful of that. All right, time to place those axes. My biggest y value is 3, so if I put my axes right in the middle, I should be just fine. All right, so we've got our line graphed, and hopefully your line looks like mine. But let's stop for a minute and do our slope evaluation just to make sure that we did do it correctly. We need our rise from a point to another point. So let's see, if I'm going to start here and go to this point. Remember, it doesn't matter which 2 points you pick, as long as you go from left to right. So let's see, if I'm going from here to here, I'm going to have to go down 1, 2, 3. So my rise is -3. And then run, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3 again. +3 this time. That means my slope is going to be rise over run, which is just -1. Negative means this is downhill. And if I go from left to right, if this was a ski slope, whee, I sure would be going downhill pretty fast. Hopefully you're getting the hang of graphing lines using a table. Go ahead and finish up numbers 5 and 6 before you come to class tomorrow, where we'll jump into this in a little bit more detail.